There's the river guide.
Look, Nicholas. Look. Look, Nicholas.
See, Roger, you're in the court.
Sorry.
You're getting my lens dirty.
Hi. Smile, Grizzy. Smile. You smile.
Michael, you're okay.
No. Okay. He wants to.
Really? Bring it out.
What?
But they don't even really care, do you?
Oh,
You want to sit on it? Pretty red wheels.
Michael.
Then try.
Probably backwards.
It's easier, isn't it? Yes.
She's smiling.
Me too. I'll move over there. It's no fun to be there.
I just said.
Here, here's the chair. We'll move it over. There you go, Anne.
Watch out, I'll do this. Is that neat, Nick? Nicholas! Is that neat? Everybody's looking at me, he said.
Oh, Angie, come on. Come on.
This is absolutely fabulous.
We can move some of these little ones. Here, Chris, you want to sit? Oh, look at that. Sorry, microphone.
Just don't get Nicholas.
Oh, Nicholas!
What's he gonna
I think we're going to go backwards before we go forward. Yes.
Come down to here, sit.
We might have done that last
So
time. Let's see
adorable.
if we can get him interested in these packages.
Oh, he says I like this right now. Come back the day after tomorrow and we'll do the rest.
And then we'll do the rest.
Got fun?
Oh!
Okay.
Let's see if he'll get off the bike. He might not get off the bike.
Chris.
We might have to hold him for him.
Chris,
This won't be as exciting.
Chris, look over there.
Chris,
Look at that.
Wave!
say hi.
Wave! We'll show you stuff on the TV later.
Wave.
You want to sit down and open the box? Are we going to come off of this? What's in there?
That's it, pull it off. What's in there? What's in there? Look what's in there.
Oh, all right. Take the ball. Here it comes. Are you going to help?
I mean, Christopher's going to help you.
Open it up.
Christopher's gonna help you, Nick.
Open it up.
Oh,
Look,
Oh, what a
You're gonna be a colorful
no red, Sue.
Oh, thank you.
She doesn't like red.
Do you have anything
It's a
to eat
good thing
ready?
she called me back because that's where you would have bought. Yes,
Do you have
I
anything
would.
to eat?
I have a hard time putting red on things. And my mother-in-law and mom bought it for him one Christmas, and they wore it, but I have an awful hard time. Here's you a pair. Oh, that's those are dark.
Oh, Nicholas says those will be great on me. Sharing boy, I'll say that for him.
Let's sit down now.
Take it out of the box. That's from Grandma Annie.
Oh, Nicky.
Well, he says, what do we do with this?
Lucky.
Oh, what's that? Thank you.
Oh, how special is that?
Oh, that'll go with those blue ones. Cute, won't it?
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, Bill, I'm the bike.
It's not the last, but it's probably the first.
Just one, honey. I think we'll only need one. Will you take that one back and give me the tray to the high chair that's there by the sink? Daddy, he's not big enough for both. Oh, we're through? All right, come on.
That was enough. One.
Can Chris ride it? Chris ride it. Let's check.
All right, put it in front of him. See what he does with it.
All of
Oh,
them?
he's gonna go zoom, zoom, zoom.
Then nobody else will want to eat any. All right, take this one fast.
All right.
Mom, what you doing?
Are you all through, Daddy?
Yeah.
We got cupcakes for him.
Be careful whoever's over there. Oh, there it went. Let's go over here and bring Nikki, and we'll go over here and make a little circle and maybe.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicholas. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, he's going to blow the candle out.
Now that takes a grandma.
He's going to blow.
It's fabulous.
No, no.
It's fabulous.
There, did you make a
Get in the whole cake. Let him just
No.
tear it apart.
Get him a cupcake. He can tear the cupcake apart.
No, let him have a piece of cake.
All right.
It's his cake. Gee, Mom.
Yeah.
Would you hurry up and take it, Dave?
Just a second. Hold it. Keep still. Hold still there.
Dave, would you hurry up and take it?
Okay. Okay. You can move now.
Well, we better get her a nap.
I don't believe you.
Please. No. Would you like it to
Oh, you're fabulous. Yeah, but no, we've had it.
No, wait a minute. Get in all
I
this.
just want you.
Yeah.
Now, he might not like some ice cream, so say there's much, because be careful. Stuff. He's got it all over everybody and
Mom,
everything.
Mommy, should I go get a cupcake?
Why? Another piece.
Nicholas.
He's having fun. Is that good?
Okay, Christopher.
Is that good?
Christopher, want a cupcake?
Come here, honey.
Christopher, come here.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Mine.
Some ice cream?
Nicky.
That's cold.
You want ice now? I prefer the
Look,
cake.
Nick.
That's what I would.
Oh, this will go on forever.
Well, lucky can you get?
Christopher, do you want your own?
Christopher.
Oh my gosh, look at Nicholas. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. He's not sure about that.
Messy.
You are really. Yes, you are.
Be careful with the ice cream. He doesn't usually eat that.
He doesn't?
He eats it, but first you just went to get Nicholas.
where's Eddie about ice cream? He likes it.
global financial havoc that had brought on the 1930s depression. The plan they came up with, termed the Bretton Woods Accords, established fixed exchange rates between foreign currencies, made the U.S. dollar the world's dominant currency, pegged the dollar to gold at the rate of $35 an ounce, set up institutions like the World Bank and International Monetary Fund to aid poor nations. These accords provided the institutional framework for 2 decades of worldwide growth and prosperity. But by the late 1960s, the American economy began to sag, bogged down by inflation, foreign competition, and an overvalued dollar. President Nixon responded in 1971 by launching the first of 2 dollar devaluations. He also announced that the dollar could no longer be exchanged for gold, moves which effectively undercut the Bretton Woods Accords.
Okay, at $25 million.
The changes gave way to a new system of floating exchange rates, meaning the value of individual world currencies were mostly determined by the free market. As a result, the dollar's value rose and fell virtually unchecked. This monetary instability is causing growing problems and concerns for the United States and other world economies. Today's conference is an effort to find a way to restore order to the international currency markets, order which many economists say has been lacking since the 1960s.
We turn now to the 2 organizers of today's monetary conference, Senator Bill Bradley, Democrat of New Jersey, and Congressman Jack Kemp, Republican of New York. Congressman Kemp, starting with you, why is it so necessary to change the current monetary system?
Well, it's not working is probably the most important reason for change. I think Secretary Baker, even the short clips that your show has had this evening, provide us with a guideline for what needs to be done. We're in a non-system. We need to tie the currencies of the world to some rule, some measure, some standard, if you will, to bring back not only flexible, more stable exchange rates, but to facilitate international trade, international economic development, reduce interest rates, and indeed lead to the type of growth policies that can allow those countries of the world who have these huge debts overhanging their heads to be able to start paying off that debt in a growing economy.
All right, let me ask your co-sponsor here, Senator Bradley, how specifically is this not working system affecting, say, the U.S. economy, U.S. consumers?
I think it's hitting the United States extremely hard. I mean, the practical goal of this conference is to try to get some agreement on changes that would preserve American jobs and make American business more competitive abroad.
Well, how is the monetary system affecting jobs?
The value of the dollar is the price of goods in international transactions, and that price is very high. Because it is very high, it is like a tax on all of our exports, and it is as if we have subsidized imports into this country. As a result, you find a trade deficit of close to $150 billion. Now, if we're going to solve that, we need cooperation among our allies in the world. We need to be willing to intervene in the exchange rate markets, and most of all, as a nation, we have to lead the world toward that kind of coordinated response.
So, Congressman Kemp, do you think this is something that the average American should be concerned about?
Well, absolutely. From Buffalo, New York, where I come from, to New Jersey and throughout this country, to the agricultural sector of the Midwest, all of us have a big stake in providing a more vigorous response to the international trade situation, more exports, a more stable exchange rate for the dollar against other currencies. In my view, Bill Bradley is exactly correct, because so many countries are using their currency to gain an unfair trade advantage against the United States. So it hurts not only industry but agriculture, keeps interest rates artificially high. It allows other countries to have an advantage against us in our own market, notwithstanding other markets, and it leads to protectionism, which ultimately is a beggar thy neighbor, zero-sum game. So the workers of Buffalo and throughout this country have a big stake in getting interest rates down and growth up and more markets for U.S. exports.
All right, what specifically would you do to reform the system?
Well, number one, I think the G5 meeting that was alluded to by Secretary Baker in his remarks was a step in the right direction.
And that was what exactly?
Well, it was a move away from the floating exchange rate system that has existed since 1971 to a groping, if you will, but nonetheless a sharp step towards more stable exchange rates. Unfortunately, we have not yet come to consensus in this country or in the world what we're going to replace this system, the floating rate system, what it's going to be replaced with. And in my view, I'd like to see a modernized, improved, forward-looking Bretton Woods international monetary system with stable exchange rates, with an anchor. That anchor might be a basket of commodity prices with the usual harbingers of inflation in that basket.
Like what specifically?
Well, you would, gold would be one of those prices that you would look at. I think we could tie the dollar to that basket of commodities as well as stabilize the dollar against other currencies.
All right, let me just get you, Senator Bradley. You have a different proposal, I take it.
Well, I think you have to think of our economy as if it were a car. A car has 4 wheels. The wheels of economic growth are, I believe, getting the budget deficit down, moving toward tax reform, moving toward much more coordinated intervention in the exchange rate markets, which is the subject of this conference, and some rescheduling of the third world debt that hangs over our world economy like an avalanche.
You mean more coordinated intervention? You mean governments going in to stabilize the...
I mean, we can't in this country have a very tight monetary policy and a very loose fiscal policy and have the reverse in another country. We have to coordinate our efforts with our allies. And I think at a minimum, what we must do is to go further and faster in the direction that President Reagan and his Secretary of the Treasury Baker announced in the G5 agreement. We need to go further toward intervening in the exchange rate market so that the dollar becomes more competitive and so that we preserve American jobs and we make American business more competitive abroad.
What about Congressman Kemp's proposal? Would you agree that that would be a viable option?
Well, if we are talking about the gold standard, I'd say it was unrealistic and impractical.
Why?
Well, I think that it makes us vulnerable to a very tight monetary policy, and in my view, it also makes us vulnerable to countries like South Africa and the Soviet Union dumping gold into the world market. Now, I think that the key point here is that out of this conference is coming a broad agreement that we have to have governments involved in seeking change in this system.
You agree with that, Congressman Kemp? The governments have to be active.
Look, I think it's unfair to characterize my proposal as simply subjecting the United States economy to tight money because of some fixity on gold. Irrespective of that debate, I think Bill would agree that a system cannot work without some reference point around which central banks would decide to make the intervention that he supports. Now, having said that, as far as I'm concerned, the issue is not what we finally move towards. It is how do we have the intervention that I support as well as Bill Bradley, and what anchor or what rule we use to decide when to intervene, when to tighten, when to loosen. And I do not favor the type of tight monetary policy or loose monetary policy. I want a sound, stable monetary policy that will help bring down the terrible discrepancies that exist in foreign exchange markets and help provide a guideline around which people can gauge the long-term value of the United States dollar. In my view, that would lower interest rates and have a significant impact upon the industrial Northeast and the agricultural sector of this country.
But what would be wrong with the tight or loose monetary policy Senator Bradley's proposing?
Well, again, if it's too loose, it leads to inflation. If it's too tight, it leads to deflation. We don't want a monetary policy that causes the dollar continually to appreciate against other currencies. We don't want to get back into the type of inflationary monetary policy, loose monetary policy, which caused inflation to rise at 13% and interest rates to go to 21%. We want stable prices.
All right,
and we had that for about 40 years under Bretton Woods. I think we can improve upon that. And it's not a ideological commitment to any one commodity. It's a recognition that the dollar needs a measure a unit of account around which we can conduct, along with our trading partners, a better system for the world and particularly the people that we represent.
Just very briefly, the inflation part of his argument against your position.
Well, I actually think that our positions are more similar than you would imagine. I think out of this conference that we jointly co-sponsored, we will see more governments actively seeking to change the present system. And I think that's positive. At a minimum in this country, we have to realize that domestic economic decisions that we take have international repercussions. And we have to think about that before we take them. For example, the big budget deficit in 1982 we financed with high interest rate policy. That high interest rate policy we thought was going to create no loss, but it precipitated the third world debt crisis, which sucked capital out of Latin America and other places into this country, and also halted U.S. banks from loaning abroad. The result of that was an extremely fragile financial system, which is where we are now. If we're going to get out of that, we need more coordination. And the only entities that can coordinate effectively are governments. And I think that's the message from the conference that's being held in Washington that Jack and I co-sponsored, and that is attended by people from all over the world. We want a change in the present system because the floating exchange rate system is not working.
All right, we'll come back. Robin?
Not everyone agrees that the current monetary system should be tampered with. A leading critic of today's conference is Milton Friedman, Nobel laureate in economics and longtime professor at the University of Chicago. Professor Friedman is now a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute in Stanford. Professor Friedman, they both think some kind of monetary reform is essential. What do you respond to that?
Everybody thinks some kind of monetary reform is essential, but everybody thinks a different kind is essential. And the fact of the matter is that there is no agreement among either these two gentlemen or the people at their conferences as to what form an international rearrangement should take. The fact of the matter is the floating exchange rate system has worked extraordinarily well. It has existed now since 1971. It has existed during a period in which world trade expanded very rapidly. It has existed during a period where you had unusual disturbances in the form of oil and food crises, and it has enabled the countries of the world to weather them. The fact is there is no effective alternative to a floating rate system. I believe these gentlemen are setting the problem upside down. The way to get stabler exchange rates is not through coordination.
You agree that stabler exchange rates are desirable?
Stabler exchange rates would be a good thing if the circumstances existed which led to them. They are a bad thing if they are artificially repressed. For example, let me digress for a moment. These gentlemen imply that somehow or other the strong dollar is losing jobs. That somehow the strong dollar and the large balance of payments deficit on current account is costing jobs in the United States. Well, if a strong dollar loses jobs, then you would think that a weak franc and a weak mark would gain jobs. That seems logical, doesn't it? How is it that employment in the United States has been going up very rapidly, and employment in Germany and France has gone down? How is it that our strong dollar has been accompanied by a very strong economy with relatively high increasing levels of employment? The plain fact is that the strong dollar does not cost any jobs. That's nonsense. It changes jobs. Some jobs become less available, and other jobs become more available.
Some jobs do go overseas.
Well, I don't know if they go overseas, but some jobs, some concerns sell less, other concerns sell more, some concerns employ fewer, other concerns employ more. But on net, the total employment in the United States has been going up rapidly. But
what about Congressman Kemp's other concerns that the whole thing is leading to it's keeping interest rates higher than they need to be. It is leading to protectionism.
It's doing the opposite. Excuse me. Surely the capital inflow from abroad makes interest rates lower than they otherwise would be. That's why I say this is upside down. The way to get an improvement in the international exchange rate system is to have an improvement in the internal policy of each country separately. The United States has been through a 10-year period of extraordinarily unstable conditions. That's because we've had unstable policies at home. It's not the fault of other countries. It's not because we haven't coordinated other countries. And I believe that the effect of what to have an improved international trading system is for each country separately to mend its doctor, cure thyself. We should have a much stabler monetary policy, not wide swings up and down.
By stabler monetary policy, you mean controlling the money supply by the Federal Reserve Board?
Right. The Federal Reserve has controlled the money supply in such a way that we have had wild swings with monetary growth rapid and then slow. We should also, I agree, that we need to have a smaller federal deficit, provided it's achieved by cutting spending. We need to cut government spending. Government is absorbing too large a fraction of our resources. And that's a much more important source of our problems than any exchange rate.
Let me go back to the gentleman in Washington. Congressman Kemp, here's a man who's got a Nobel Prize in economics who said, you got the problem, you're setting the problem upside down. You just heard what he said.
Well, there probably is more room for agreement, and I think Dr. Friedman would acknowledge, at least in the short and brief time that we've been on the show together. He's recently turned out in the Journal of Political Economy a statement in which he said the earlier commodity link provided a physical anchor to the price level over the long term, which led to stable prices for almost 150 years. I don't disagree with Milton Friedman that the doctor should cure himself. I'm a strong supporter of tax reform to bring down rates and encourage investment and to cut the deficit and to deregulate the economy, and I'm a big fan of Milton Friedman, but I think it stands to reason that if we're to have stable prices, we ought to have a monetary policy that looks at the price level as measured by some rational objective standard, as opposed to looking at just how many angels can dance on the head of M1 every Thursday at 11:15 on the
I want to
You're saying
remind
that controlling the money supply here at home won't cure the problem.
Because you don't know what the demand for money is. The supply doesn't, the M1, which is Dr. Friedman's favorite target, or the monetary base, or whatever he would use tonight, you don't know what the demand for money is. And the demand for dollars right now in the world is very strong. The supply is relatively low, and you measure it by what's happening to the dollar, what's happening to exchange rates, what's happening to gold, what's happening to commodity prices, and what's happening to interest rates. And if you look at those objective criteria, it seems to me that right now we're too loose, just as in 1979 we were way too easy.
Let's get Dr. Friedman to comment and then go to Senator Bradley.
Two comments. First, from my good friend Jack Kemp, it is certainly true, and I have always argued, that gold did provide a long-term price anchor. But remember, it did not provide stability in the short run. Remember that it was under a gold standard that we had the Great Depression. It was under a gold standard that we had the